Hello everybody, welcome to my page. I am Jonquel Art and today I am giving you my first initial thoughts on the Ohuhu 360 alcohol marker set. These are the Hallelujah lines, meaning they are the double tip, they are the brush tip along with the chisel tip. Now I know you probably done seen a whole lot of reviews on Ohuhu markers. Yes, I say them the way I do. I know I sound like an owl. It is what it is. If you saw earlier, if I uploaded it correctly, you saw my unboxing experience, okay? So you know that my ADHD was triggered. I darn near had a full crash out. Every color comes everywhere. So if you are getting these markers in any capacity and you think you're going to have you a nice little calm opening like you would if you got, say, maybe Prisma or Copic markers, that's not what you're about to have. Be prepared. Go ahead and discuss it with your Virgo or your inner A1, what do they call type A character, because you're going to need their help, because you are going to have a miniature freak out when it comes to opening up these markers, every color, everywhere. And when you try to swatch them, you're going to have even more of a headache. Speaking of the swatches, I was not prepared for the swatch system to be this way. When I started, I seen we was going with yellows, and then I got confused. And by the way, you got yellows, and then you got like an orange in here. And then you got the browns. And I'm like, why you just didn't arrange them for all the yellows to be all together and all the browns to be all together? And then when I think that we switching from yellows to browns to oranges, all of a sudden we in red violets. We in red violets. I have had this discussion on TikTok plenty times, and every time I have this discussion, somebody treat me like I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Like I'm not a professional artist. Like I don't do this for a living. Like I don't understand hues, tones, value scales. Like, they don't make sense to me. And I just feel like even if they got a color system, they need to come arranged, or they need to have some type of diagram inside the packaging for you to know how they see them to be arranged. But most people are going to arrange them themselves like I did here. After I got over my initial crash out and I cussed out every single marker and every single executive that worked for Ohuhu, I went ahead and started putting my markers in order. Now, this is not an Ohuhu stand that this is on right here. Not Ohuhu stand. The Ohuhu marker towers do not have enough slots to cover the 320 markers. You're going to have to buy at least 2 of the bigger towers if you want to have all your markers together. I don't have the money for that. I don't have time to etch a sketch together a marker setup. So I went on Amazon and I found this amazing smaller company that were selling these sets, this organizer, mind you, for, it was like $72 when I seen it. And it can hold 360 markers. That's a steal. That's a steal, because on average, the average bamboo set that you see may be like, what, $39? And you may need 2 or 3 of those. But to get everything in there for $72, it's a steal. Now, mind you, that's when I first seen it. I'm going to link the product below. Do not come for me if it costs more, because I put this on TikTok first and they may have went and bought it out. I don't know. I can't help it that I'm an influencer, because half the time I don't be trying to influence y'all. Y'all just go do it. So I wish y'all... Hush. Sorry. I digress. Like I said, this triggers my ADHD at times. So one thing that I talked about already is that the colors come everywhere. So be prepared to put them together and have in mind how you want them to be arranged. I know that there's photos on their website and there's these hex codes and all these things you can get from Reddit that will tell you how to put it together. I highly suggest arranging it in a way that you are comfortable. Now, the reason why I'm doing the setup this way and I'm not in the picture is so you can see the way I have mine set up. You can go ahead and screenshot this if you want to. Never mind my 2 goddesses on the side. These are my muses. I decided to set mine up where I have my reds. And there's, these are what I consider some of my truer reds in here. So if I need a lipstick color or I need a red dress, I know to come here. I go from reds, then I go from reds to some of my deeper reds, and then we start going into the red violets. From our red violets, we go all the way down to our violets. And from violets, we go to purples. And from purples, we go to blue violets, into our light blues and our deep blues. And then we start getting into more of the green blues, which are like our teals and our turquoise. And from there, we start getting closer to green. Now, while we are in green, we can go down to yellow green. So we get our lime green, which in our basic, by the way, since I don't mention lime green, their lime green ain't lime green. When you picture a lime green in your head, you picturing the actual lime, the outside of a lime, right? That's not their lime green. Their lime green is the color of the inside of the pulp. Exactly. It don't make no sense. That's what I'm saying. Now you understand. See, if I didn't do this review, you wouldn't know. Now you know. Prepare yourself. Have your medication ready. And you'll be okay. It's going to take you 40 days or 40 nights to get a swatch, but you're going to be okay. You're prepared. Consider yourself warned. Now, that I said that, we are going to go from our, what was I on? Yellow greens down to our yellows. And I have my yellows arranged because, I do fashion illustration. So I have them arranged in a way where one line right here, these are the golds that I use for gold earrings. So I had them all together. So I go from there, go to my yellows, my yellowish golds, and then we start going into our oranges, into our browns. Now, once we get to about right here, some of these are no longer the 320 set. I also have the 36 skin tone set in here as well. So I go from my browns to my skin tone set. That allows me to have all of my skin tones together. So when I'm doing my portraits or coloring in one of my coloring books, because all my coloring books are girls, everything is together the way I need it to be together. And from there, I go and we go into our grays. Now, the interesting thing about the 320 set is that it comes with a lot of grays. A lot of grays. You have green grays, red grays, blue grays, cool grays, neutral grays, warm grays. They all have a rhyme and a reason. I can do a whole video on how you're going to use those grays. Just let me know. I'm trying to give y'all all the answers and all the things that y'all are coming here for. So when you open it and you see why so much gray, there's a reason for that. See, I bet you can't even tell. If you look at this, I use grays to shade some of the darker part of her skin, because grays can be used to shade anything. Also, this is a blue gray. This background in her hair is also a little bit of a misty blue gray. You have so many different ways you can use grays. They are perfection. I love that you get so many in the Ohuhu. You can also get the grays separately. And if you don't get the big set, get them separately. They have so many uses. Trust me. And then at the end, I have more of my skin tones. And you're going to see some dupes in here because I also had other random Ohuhu marker sets. And because this thing can hold 360 and I had the 320 set, I was able to fit 2 full sets of Ohuhus on here. Now on to the next question people ask me when it comes to this. Are they worth it? If you've looked these up, you know these can cost a pretty penny no matter where you are located. But here in the U.S., for the longest time, they were $240, just about, not counting sales tax and shipping and all that other stuff. $240. That's a lot of money to pay for something, especially if you are like me, a hobby hopping heifer, because I love to hop hobbies. I didn't want to jump in and pay all that money for something. And next week, I'm going to be like, okay, I want to do oil pastel portraits of dogs, because that's just the way that my mind works. It is hard to be a hobby hopper who is actually talented as well, because you be moderately good at almost everything you try and then I'd be bored. So one thing I can say about this, because you got to spend so much time arranging them and swatching them, you're going to be here for a little while. You're going to be here for a little. You're going to obsess over it for a little while. But if you're new to markers and you've never tried them before, I do not recommend jumping in head first into getting the 320 set. Start small. Maybe start with a smaller company. That could also be a whole nother video. I can give you a list of other companies to go with. Start with one of their smaller sets, or start with a budget marker that gives you a whole lot of colors for a lot cheaper, just to see if you like coloring. And if you like coloring, then you can jump in to getting one of these big sets because they are worth it. These are very, very good. These markers blend well. They're smooth. They don't have a lot of blooming. Blooming is when you touch the marker to the paper, how much it spreads from where you put it. So if you're trying to do like a character who has like very small lips and you put the color in and the line in the marker ink spreads further than the lip line, that's called blooming. And so some of the cheaper markers bloom a lot. So that's something to keep in mind. They bloom. Also, sometimes the cheaper markers will dry out faster and they will explode. Sometimes you'll reach for them and they've been explode. The ink will be all over your hand. But that is when you come to, you get what you pay for. Ohuhu is a little bit more expensive, but they're not the most expensive markers out there. Copic and Prismacolor is what, like $8 a marker? So you're getting a pretty good deal. And also at the end of the day, I can't tell you how much something is worth to you. You have to decide that, which is why I said, start with a cheap set. If you find that you sticking with it past a few weeks, go ahead and splurge, dive right on in. Go ahead and go to Michael's, go to Hobby Lobby, go ahead into the Amazon cart and have fun. Have the world. You're going to be annoyed as hell that half of these colors do not match their names. Did I mention black brown? Oh, yeah, there's a marker in here called black brown. Black brown. Look, right in my face. No, is that black brown? Yes. Black brown. This is, let me turn it around so y'all can see. BR208. Black brown. Now, what color you think that's going to be? Matter of fact, the cap should throw you off anyway. When you hit a name black brown, you think you're getting either a black or a brown or a dark brown, right? Right? Look at that. Look at that. Peach. It make no sense. And these are the type of atrocities you are going to encounter. And this is why half the time I be wanting to fight Ohuhu. This is why I cussed every marker out. Because it don't make no sense. Half of these, look at all these dang peaches you got. Look at this. And this is the color it dries to. Black brown, by the way. That's the color it dries to. You got all these peaches. I didn't need this. I didn't need this fake. I'm getting out of here. You know what I mean. So that is my number one complaint. When it comes to them, you have a lot of variety in the 320 set, but you have what I feel a lot of duplicates. As you can see just by looking at the swatch sheet, you do get a lot of the same colors, a lot of the same tone. Because sometimes I'm like, do I really need these two? They're the same color. Do I need these two? They darn near the same color. Do I need these two? Again, darn near the same color. However, not everybody's going to be coloring on paper like this. This swatch paper they get you, coloring books don't come in this. Whatever paper you're using for your coloring books or your drawings and your illustrations, make sure you're testing your markers on that exact paper because it may dry to be completely different. That's a little tidbit. I jumped around a little bit. I have ADHD. You got to roll with me when I'm doing these reviews. You never know where I'm going to go. I could be here and then I could be here. Y'all just got to keep up with me, okay? I'm an adult. I'm going to calm down. Anyway, finally, one thing that I do want to say, I do love these markers. I do. I think these are good for the price and the amount that you get. These are some really top quality markers out there. I can see why they're popular, and I can see why they're popular with the marker community. But there are really good competitive brands out there. So it comes down to what you want to do with your money. I always tell you, ain't nobody sponsoring me. I'm always going to tell you the truth and what I feel. And what I feel is that these are good markers, but you do what you want to do with your money. And if you're going to get them, make sure you have your meds. Unless you're a Virgo probably open up that case and be just as happy. Like, oh, happy day. I get to arrange colors because every color is everywhere. You're going to be playing Where's Waldo half the time. Now, that's what I got to say about these. This is my review. If you have any further questions and want me to go in on it, I will absolutely be happy to. Also, here's a little tidbit, and I'll go into this on another video. Make sure if you have double tipped markers, make sure that you are displaying them horizontally. Do not have them upright. I know that these things cost a lot of money, or they come really, really cheap and like to break, but make sure you are storing your markers horizontally, because you need them. You need to make these things last a long time, because you spent a lot of money on this. Being said, I hope you really enjoyed this quick review. I know I didn't do a lot of swatching or coloring of these markers, because if you looked up Ohuhu markers, you know that there are hundreds and hundreds of video of people swatching, but ain't nobody give you the nitty gritty and telling you the truth and what you're going to have to deal with when you open these markers. I'm trying to save you a headache so that you don't throw the whole marker set at the wall like I was tempted to do, and what I suspect that they do when they packaging the markers. I really believe they throwing the markers at the wall, let them slide down in the packaging, and then sending it to us so that people with ADHD and happy heifers can have a crash out moment. Thank you. Like and subscribe if you want more videos like this. And please, please, please leave me a comment and ask me any questions. And I will do my very best to give you demonstrations and answer all of those questions for you. You guys have a great. See you back in a little while. Bye.